XRP at a $100 level. Now, most people say no way, but stick around and you'll see exactly why I'm not laughing and why I'm actually double checking my exit plan. Alright, so let's set the scene. It's May 2025. Bitcoin just smashed through the six-figure ceiling like it was made of paper mache. And suddenly every coin with a ticker is waking up from its long winter nap. XRP, well, it's stretching, cracking its knuckles and flirting with the upper side of $2 for the first time in months. Now, I know, for anyone who sat through 2022's cold shoulder, that alone feels like a victory lap. But on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, one analyst that goes by the name of 𝗕𝗪𝗂 just lobbed a grenade into the conversation. XRP at $100 this year. And that's the first stop. Now, my first reaction, spit take. Second reaction, well, pull out the kind of calculator and see if my coffee-stained keyboard can actually handle 16-digit numbers. Okay, so before we dive into that rabbit hole, let's do a quick heads up. Right, if you love nerding out on crypto price paths, but the people in your life kind of glaze over, come and hang out in our free crypto Discord server. There's a link chilling in the description. Now, it's kind of like a group therapy, but with more candlesticks and fewer tissues, right? And if you're ready to put some skin in the game, check out Blowfin, the up-and-coming exchange that's kind of making the old guys kind of sweat. Hit that link, grab your bonus, and start trading before everyone else figures out why the spreads are so tight. Okay, so how wild is the idea of XRP multiplying by 38 times in under 8 months? The answer, or at least to answer that, let's peel back the layers like an onion, right? Except a few tiers, but there's a sweet payoff if you kind of saute it just right. Okay, so first, context. XRP right now sits at around $2.55 at the point of recording, with a market cap flirting with $150 billion. Now, our entire crypto market cap, well, that's about $3.3 trillion, give or take a dog meme or two. Now, for XRP to hit $100, we're talking about a $5.8 trillion valuation for a single coin. Now, that alone would make XRP bigger than every single crypto put together at this moment, plus a chunk of Apple on the side. It sounds insane, right? But we're living in a world where Bitcoin just proved price ceilings are suggestions, not rules. Now, when BTC printed 6 digits, most old school economists were still kind of individualizing fair value models, stuck at 25K. Markets, they move faster than textbooks. Now, 𝗕𝗪𝗂's timeline is pretty spicy. It's a 3,821% increase by New Year's Eve. And he doesn't stop there. He calls $100 a stepping stone, suggesting $1,000 could pop off by 2027. Now, that leap would be another 10x after the first miracle moonshot. Now, at that point, you're not just breaking the sound barrier, you're rewriting physics. Compare that with Linda Jones, another finance voice in the XRP choir, who still sings about triple-digit territory, but gives it a much longer runway. Something like late 2020s. But, then there's kind of Matthew, over at Crypto Charged, who drops a $1,000 bomb, but says, give it a decade. And let's not forget the spreadsheet wizards at Changelly and Telegon, right? They've penciled in $100 around 2034 to 2040. Slow, steady, maybe sensible, but no way near as click-worthy. So who's right then, right? That's, I guess, the $1 million or in this particular case, $1,000 question, right? Now, let me tell you a story. Back in 2017, I watched Bitcoin yo-yo from 3 grand to 20 within 6 months. I was the genius who sold at 8, felt like a hero for maybe 2 weeks, and then spent Christmas staring at price charts like a soap opera villain plotting revenge. Now, if that kind of taught me anything, it's this. Markets don't reward comfort. They reward conviction mixed with timing and a dash of luck. Okay, so now let's poke at the math then. All right, a 3,821% rally sounds monstrous, but zoom out. From 2013 to 2017, XRP screamed from less than a cent to $3.84. That's roughly 38,000%. Granted, liquidity was a kiddie pool back then, but it shows scale-breaking rallies aren't mythology. Fast forward to today, and we have deeper order books, institutional custody, and more than a few whales who can move 8-figure blocks without blinking. Now, if even a fraction of global money parked in low-yield bonds decides crypto is a new growth story, well, you'll see fireworks that make 2017 look like a birthday candle. Still, there's a snag, the elephant in the room wearing an SEC badge. Regulation, right? XRP's decade kind of long dance with the US courts has been the ultimate buzzkill. But here's the twist. Every setback kind of trimmed the fat. Exchanges that delisted XRP cleaned house. Only the diehards remained. Now, once clarity finally landed last year, fresh capital poured back into the flood waters, or at least in like flood waters, I should say, through a broken dam. And so, yes, the legal cloud has mostly drifted away. And, if the wind keeps blowing regulators towards a mature framework, well, the markets could reprice the risk overnight. Okay, so numbers are fun, but let's talk psychology. Why do big round numbers, magentically kind of pull prices then? Or at least magnetically pull those prices towards them. And it's because we're human, right? We love milestones, right? First job, 10th anniversary, $100 XRP. You'll notice I put all of those together. Now, they're easy to remember and, even easier to celebrate on social media, right? The very act of chasing $100 could become a self-fulfilling prophecy if enough traders pile in. So let's think of it like a stadium wave, right? One or two fans can't start it, but once the crowd senses momentum, everyone kind of jumps in, and suddenly you've got 60,000 people moving in perfect sync. Here's the catch though: waves crash, and that's the kind of problem that nobody ever tweets about, right? You got 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧 said it plainly: hitting $100 won't change your life if you don't have an exit strategy. Now, I can't shout this loud enough because you plan the sale before the price even prints. Now, back in 2021, I watched friends ride altcoins up 15x and back down to break even because they kept moving the goalposts. Just one more rally. It's that most explosive phrase in crypto. So what makes Barry C think $100 happens this cycle then? Well, he cites 3 drivers. You got first, utility. Ripple's on-demand liquidity. Rails are onboarding more banks in Asia faster than you can say Swift who. And then you've got second, the macro, right, which is global currencies keep wobbling and businesses keep wanting cheap and fast settlements. Third, there's the supply shock narrative. Now, as more XRP gets locked up in escrow deals, circulating supply tightens like jeans after the holidays. Now, whether you buy 3 reasons or not, each has at least one data point backing it up. Transaction volumes on XRPL are at record highs, and cross-border remittances via RippleNet have reportedly saved and shaved 30% off fees for partner banks. But let's keep it real, right? There's a counter choir led by, Sonny. He kind of called $100 predictions a mental disability. Harsh? Absolutely. Yet the dude has a point about market caps to a degree. To justify $5+ trillion on XRP alone, the broader crypto might need to push north of $25 trillion. Is that impossible? Not if tokenized real-world assets become the norm and central banks keep printing like tomorrow's cancelled, but it's definitely a stretch goal. It's also important to understand that market cap doesn't represent liquidity. It's not actually $25 trillion of real money sat there. It's a calculation calculation, right? Supply multiplied by price, meaning that price dictates the market cap, not the other way around. Understanding what moves price, which is supply and demand, and the importance of liquidity within that. So, for example, we can see historically for XRP that if we had $1 billion of capital inflowing, it actually represents 600 billion of market cap. And that is quite a phenomenal feat. So here's where I land after kind of marinating on both sides, right? XRP at $100 this year is like training for a marathon on 5 hours notice. Technically, it's doable if you were already in kind of Olympic shape. The weather is perfect and somebody hands you rocket boots. More realistically, we could see a kind of staggered sprint, maybe $10 to $15 once Bitcoin's kind of had its euphorical kind of move to the upside and trickles down a little bit. If that sticks and they push towards kind of $30 to $50 when traditional finance finally takes the blinders off, then maybe utility kind of scales massively. Central bank partnerships, tokenized securities settling in seconds. $100 becomes less unicorn, more kind of racehorse. But maybe not by December. Still, let's humor the moon math one more time then, right? Because say you grabbed 5,000 XRP at $2.25, or actually $2.55 at the point of recording, roughly $12,700, right? A $100 target turns that into $500,000. That's nice house down payment, right? A kind of $1,000 pipe dream, well, we're talking about retire your parents and buy them a beachfront condo money, right? Risk reward is kind of that way that, or at least why people kind of binge crypto Twitter at like 3 a.m. in the morning. But promise me this, you won't go ahead and YOLO your rent money in one go. Play the probabilities here. Use dollar cost averaging strategies. Set tiered sell orders, adult stuff, right? And if you need a sounding board, hop into our Discord server. Every day someone posts a chart, someone kind of else pokes holes in it, and you kind of all leave smarter than we actually arrived. Plus, you might snag a meme or two for your next holiday card. Okay, so let's cycle back to the story's climax then, right? Will 2025 be the year XRP destroys disbelief? I'd argue the answer lies in liquidity and sentiment. If Bitcoin hangs around 100K, mainstream press can't ignore crypto. ETFs lure retirement funds. Those funds hunt yield beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. The moment that they kind of deem XRP legal, roller coaster closed, bam, deep pockets buy in size, right? And that's your catalyst. Without it, retail alone probably won't really lift $5 trillion. With it, buckle up. So whichever side that you stand on, one thing is certain. The conversation just got louder, right? Every tweet predicting $100 pours gasoline on the curiosity. Curiosity drives clicks, clicks drives new buyers, and buyers move price. It's a feedback loop. And here you are, right? Early enough to watch the gears start turning. And so here is my game plan in a nutshell. I'm stacking modestly, nibbling on dips and, mapping exits, $10, $25, $50, and yes, even $100. Just in case the stars do align and Barry C gets to tweet, "I told you so," on New Year's Eve, no less. Now, if that happens, you'll find me on a beach live streaming the chart with a pina colada. If it doesn't, I still call a profitable ride as long as I stick to the plan. And by the way, don't sleep on Blowfin. It's low fees, slick UI, and a launchpad that's kind of handing early access to projects I used to find when they were kind of already up 5x. The link is down below, so grab the sign up perks before they change their mind. And trust me, in a bull run, every extra kind of dollar that you save on fees counts. All right, so let's land this plane. XRP, tearing to $100 is not a guarantee. It's a probability with a lot of ifs. But probabilities are what traders live for. Do your homework, control your risk, and stay flexible, because only certainty in crypto is that tomorrow's chart will make you wish you'd been prepared yesterday.